Hey team, how are you? It's Matt here. Today we're going to be talking about a subject that's absolutely critical to get right in your business. It's something that I find that a whole bunch of business owners don't do regularly very well and will singularly make possibly the biggest difference that you'll make to your business. So today we're going to talk about, where's our pen? It's a nice one. Is it black? It is black. Recruiting superstars. So everyone talks about the strength of a really good team, right? But not many people have actually got a formula for actually recruiting people who will actually help you grow your business. Fortunately, I've been around the space for a very long time, so I do have a few insights that maybe some other people won't have had. Giving you an idea about what we've done in the past, this here is a program that I created 6 years ago now. It's called Recruit Right. And it's based on a bunch of different research that was done on the most successful people who hire superstars and what was done. And so what we did is we came up with a system. It's a proven system to hire a team of A players, as the front of it actually says. But what it actually is a whole system. Now, in doing that, I actually wrote a book on psychometric profiling, this one here. And this is sold, by the way, in 8 countries around the world. So it's not just a local thing. This is sold all around the world. And I give you a whole book on psychometric profiling. And then, as you can tell, there's a mountain of stuff to do with designing a job and the role scorecard and all that sort of stuff. So I've done a lot of work on this in the past. And what I've done is I've boiled it down for hospitality owners to a bunch of key things that you've got to get right. Okay, so yes, you could buy that program. It's $2,500 sold in 8 countries. It's fantastic. And for big corporates who I've done a lot of work with in the past, that is fantastic. I've installed that in 3 Fortune 500 companies in the United States, and they use it as their Bible for recruiting superstars. So it's done the rounds. It's a pretty good system. So what I've done, because that's really appropriate for big business, it's not so appropriate for a small business, which is kind of limited on resource and that sort of stuff. So what I've done is I've boiled it down into a few steps, which is what I want to take you through today. So today is about recruiting a team of superstars. Make sense? Cool, let's get into it. So, don't fall over. So the first question you got to ask yourself is, if I get the pen right, is why? That's a question mark. Why? Why would I actually go the extra mile and go to a whole bunch of extra effort to recruit a team of superstars? Well, the data says this. So the data says that performance goes up. Any guesses as to how much? Okay, so we'll come back to that in a second. Problems go down. Things like absenteeism, sickness, and days off, and lack of productivity, all that sort of stuff goes down significantly. So the difference between a top performer and an average performer is, generally speaking, about 180%. Okay, so your performance will go up 80%. So they are performing 180% of what an average, now I'm not talking about a poor performer, I'm talking about an average performer. A top superstar in your business will perform 80% better than a normal person and miles better than a disengaged person. Problems go down by average of 50%. So they still do have sick days, and they have kids who get sick, and they have all these different things, same as everybody else. They just seem to have less of them. They correlated, and this is really interesting. This was done, a whole bunch of research was done on this, and it was, I think, by MIT or Harvard. I'm not sure which one. But they said that the place that they work said that there was fun. The actual fun of working at the place actually went up by 27%. And as a result, culture. So the question was asked, did the culture of the business improve when these people joined? Okay, 93%. That's almost everybody said that when a superstar arrives, bang, culture goes through the roof. Fun goes through the roof. It's more enjoyable. They're doing the right things. They're having more fun. So that's a pretty good reason to actually do it. performance goes up, problems go down, fun goes up, culture goes up. Those are all pretty important things. As you will have probably seen in the past, so does that make sense? So it's like, by the way, I talk fast. My North American clients sit there and go, Matt, you talk way too fast. And I'm like, yeah, well, okay, can you just listen a bit faster? So I apologize for that. If you need to, please stop the video, go back and have a look and see what I'm talking about. But that's the why. That's the why it's really important. But when you put it in the wider context, okay, so there's 3 elements to a superstar business, right? And I do this all the time. I show people this. There's 3 elements and they're intertwined, okay? The first one here is your team. So we do 3 things around getting your team to the place where it wants to be. This is your customer, and these are your systems. So the 3 things that we do around, I'm not sure how much space I'm going to have to do this, but bear with me. Excuse me. So the first thing we do is we recruit superstars. That's the first thing we do when we want to hire a team of really get a team of really top-notch people, is we recruit superstars, okay? The next thing we do is we engage them. We engage them. That's an N, bear with me. And the last thing we do, we're going to go, that's blue or that purple? I think it could be. That one's purple. And then we give you a whole bunch of tools about how to lead them. So those are the 3 things that you can do, the 3 accelerators when it comes to growing your business to do with your team. So today, we're just going to deal with this one. Okay? Make sense? Cool. So you got to engage them, you got to lead them, but we're going to show you how to get the right people on the bus. Cool. Oh, my felt's gone through. Right. So how do you get a team of people on your bus who are really engaged and aligned and want to help you get what it is that you want from your business? Okay, so there are 4 steps, okay? Just 4 steps to doing it. And I was showing a guy in the Black Belt Masterclass, the Masterclass that I teach, the $1 Million Cafe Masterclass, or I call them Black Belts, but they're really more of a Masterclass. So there's 4 steps to recruiting a superstar. The first one, and we don't spend enough time doing this generally speaking, is design the role. Now this should be quite obvious, right? It should be obvious, but what people don't do is they sit there and go, I want a cafe manager, or I want a front of house manager, or a head chef, or whatever it is. So there's a couple of key elements that you want to chuck in there, right? The first one is you want to have KPIs. Key performance indicators. This is so people get a picture of what it takes to be successful in this role. Without a picture of that, how are they going to know what success actually looks like? So they want to have a really clear understanding about what they're going to be judged on, week to week, month to month, year to year. The next one is their responsibilities. The responsibilities, this is all the stuff that they're supposed to do. So they've got to put in reports, they've got to manage people, they've got to lead people, they've got to do all these different things, right? And then you want to paint a really, really clear path. Oh, arrows now. Cool. To success. Success. This is what success looks like. So when you're designing your role, you've got to be crystal clear for the person looking at your role. What does success actually look like? And it's different for every single role. And it can be different within the same role with different people. So you've got to define those 3 things, the KPIs, the responsibilities, and specifically what success looks like. So there can't be anything that comes up and bites them on the bums and they sit there and go, well, I didn't know about that. The second thing you got to do, and people do sometimes a pretty good job of this actually, is you got to attract the right people. You got to attract a whole group of superstars. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we do in the $1 Million Cafe Mastermind program about developing what's called a virtual bench, right? So you want to have people on your virtual bench. And there's a whole bunch of tools we go show people how to actually do that, which is really cool. The idea of a virtual bench is you hire the people before you need them. The interesting thing about recruiting well is that it's actually proactive and not reactive. So when we're hiring people, we actually do it before we need it, because when you need it, normally you never find the right people. So as a business owner, as a business leader, we're always in the process of building our virtual bench. A virtual bench is a group of people who are engaged and aligned with what you're doing as a business and will join you and are keen to join you and further their career when the right job turns up. So you want to build a really strong virtual bench. You can do online ads. That's all pretty ho-hum. We kind of do that already. I know a lot of businesses, and they do this really well, do staff incentives. So there's an old saying that birds of a feather flock together. So if you've got a superstar who's working for you, chances are they know other superstars. And if they do, they can probably give you some incentives. So you give them some incentives to try and find you the next superstar that works for them. So I was doing some work for a rather large American corporation that works in the jewelry industry, and they pay people, I think it's $5,000 for each hire. So you get paid a fee for getting the person to the final interview stage. And if they take the job after 3 months, you get paid the other half. So what it means is if you find someone who's really the right person for the business, and because you're working in the business, you understand what that's all about, and they get hired, you can make $5,000. Now you might sit there and go, wow, $5,000, that's a lot of money. I can't afford $5,000. Well, can you afford 500? Would you be willing to pay $500 to hire someone in your business who's a superstar from day one? I would suggest you would. They also come with a recommendation of a current member of staff, which is not a bad thing in itself. Other places that you could go, obviously, you go to Facey, you go social media, and you can do your web page or your website. You can put ads on there. But generally speaking, those 4 techniques are the ones that really work and will attract a team of superstars. Let's go purple. The third thing you got to do, and this is the hard part for most businesses, is you've got to have an interview process which will actually weed out the chaff from the wheat. So your interview process, and it is a process. The first thing it's got to be, so there's some elements of a really great recruitment process, right? So it's got to be thorough. It's got to get to the bottom of who the person is, not just, put it this way, right? So I was interviewing a guy, what about 8-9 months ago now. And I was interviewing on behalf of a client, and he came in and he was sitting and he was going for a front of house manager's job. And he came in and he was dressed up exceptionally well. He had a suit and tie on, and it was a pretty classy restaurant. So suit and tie wouldn't be out of normality for this place. And he put on the best single interview I think I've ever experienced. So this guy was practically a shoo-in. And it wasn't until later we found out that he's got drug convictions, and he was just not a nice character. But if you took him on face value and you didn't do a really thorough job, then you just hire someone on face value, which won't give you what you want. It might look pretty, but your job is to cut through the nice suit and all that sort of stuff and the fact they're in a job interview and actually find out who exactly this person is. So it's got to be thorough. It's also, and people forget this, it's got to be repeatable. So why does it have to be repeatable? Well, it's got to be consistent. It's got to be a system that works. When you find a system that works, you don't keep reinventing it. You keep using it. So it's got to be repeatable. And importantly, it's got to be repeatable by someone who's not you. So you're the owner of the business, right? Or you're the leader within the business. That's all good. You can't actually just do all the hiring yourself. It's got to be repeatable, and it's got to be repeatable by somebody else. So don't forget about the repeatability. Some of the other tools, you've got to use psychometrics. Got to use it. It's the inside word on what people are actually like. It's really, really, really important. You understand the sort of person who you're recruiting. You've got to do pre-employment checks. So these are checks to do with the police and drug convictions and courts and all that sort of fun stuff. You've got to do reference checks. Don't forget the reference checks, and you're going to do a trial. So your interview process, obviously you're going to have face-to-face interviews. That's a bit of a given. We know that. You're going to do a trial. You've got to do psychometrics, pre-employment checks. Now, if you can sort of read between the lines here, you'll see this is pretty thorough, right? So this is a pretty thorough way of doing things. So the decision that you have to make is, am I willing to do all these sort of things? Because if you're not, stop now. The decision you need to make is, am I willing to do these steps? And there's one more to go, and it's a real kicker. And it's more often than not actually done, but it gives you so many insights as to how the person will actually go when they actually arrive in your business. So you've got these 3 steps so far. You've got a 4th one. Oh, I'm going to take 2 pages away. The 4th one, and it's critical. Oh, wrong hand. Here we go. Number 4. And this is one of the secrets of some of the best recruiters that I know. The people who have a whole team full of superstars do this one thing and do it exceptionally well. They do what's called an expectations meeting. The expectations meeting is pretty much exactly what it sounds like it is. So it's a meeting that you have before they start. And it's where you cut through all of the nonsense in the job interview and you say, right, when you come and work for me here, this is what your day is going to look like. When you arrive at this time in the morning, I need you to be on time, in full, dressed for work, ready to rock and roll. This is what I will tolerate. This is what I won't tolerate. This is what performance looks like. This is what a lack of performance looks like. I'm going to set out in a crystal clear method exactly what my expectations of you are. Now, what this does is this sets the expectations. It's pretty straightforward. But most people, before they join a business, don't even get this. They don't even know what's the expectation. Turn up on Monday at 8 o'clock or something like this. Well, that doesn't give anybody an insight. Are you really just expecting someone, you want to be successful in my business, turn up on Monday at 8 o'clock? No way. Before they agree to sign your contract, get them through the expectations meeting. Get them into that and say, before you sign my contract, I'm gonna offer you the job, but before you do it, I want you to have a think about what I expect from you. And it's this and it's this and it's this, and write it down and put it on a piece of paper and give it to them and say, this is what I expect from you. And in return, I will give you this. I'll pay your bills on time. I'll treat you with respect and dignity. I'll help you grow as a person. I'll support you in what you want to do with your own life, whether it's internally, whether it's professional, that I can help you out within this business or anything else. And I'll support you and I'll be a good bugger. So this is what I expect of you. This is what you can expect of me. It's called the expectations meeting, and it's absolute gold. It's absolute gold. And it normally takes probably about half an hour. And normally I get people to do it before they actually agree to sign up to sign their contract and become part of the business. But it's an absolute pearler of a thing to do. In the Recruit Right program, we show them how to do it. So there you go. That's the 4 ways. You've got the 4 steps to hiring superstars. You've got number 1, design the role. You've got, once you've designed the role, it's pretty crystal clear what it actually is. You're going to attract a team of superstars by doing the right things. So going online, developing a virtual bench so you can actually hire people before you actually need them. You have an interview process that's repeatable, that doesn't rely on you to be doing it. And then finally, you're going to have an expectations meeting so people can actually understand what's going to be expected of them on day 1 and then for the rest of their time of being employed. So does that make sense? Hey, what I'd love you to do, if you like this, then please tick the like button, flick me an email at matt@thecafedoctor.com. Come and join us on Facey at The Cafe Doctor, or head to the cafedoctor.com website and you'll see a story about Tom or whatever else I'm putting up there at the moment. I don't know what's going to be up there at the moment. But there you go. So I hope that helps you. Honestly, when it comes to getting your business humming, the staff that you have, The staff run the systems, and the systems and the staff satisfy the customers. That's just as simple as that. Anyway, I hope it's been of value for you. Have a great day. Don't forget to connect. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.